So, about a month and a half ago, I posted this tweet. I knew some folks would disagree, but nevertheless, I thought I'd put it out there. Today, we saw that matchup, and long story short, the Dallas Mavericks got hit by the LaMelo Ball freight train. Something is happening in Charlotte. Something big. Coming fresh off a win against the Brooklyn Nets, the Charlotte Hornets had newfound confidence entering tonight's game versus Dallas. The Hornets were convinced that they are capable of beating any team in the league. What they didn't know was that they had the talent to back up that confidence. How can this be true? You see, that talent at the start of the game in Dallas was on the Hornets bench and didn't start until halfway through the first quarter. Yes, I am talking about the Hornets' latest addition, their third pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, LaMelo Ball. The Mavericks were blindsided as LaMelo came out sizzling hot, speeding up the pace of the game, dictating the Hornets' offense, and lighting up the Dallas Mavericks for 12 points, 4 assists, and pulling in 5 rebounds at the end of the first quarter. Now, let's get down to business. Hey, what's happening everyone? This is Swish, and today I wanted to talk about the Dallas Mavericks, a projected top 5 to top 10 team in the Western Conference, getting blown out by the Charlotte Hornets in a game that had already been decided by the end of the first quarter. Seeing that this is LaMelo's first year in the league, the Hornets coach has been very reserved in giving LaMelo time on the floor. The narrative the coach is trying to pervade is that he wants LaMelo to have somewhat of a summer league ramp-up before starting. But if you watch the film and see LaMelo's playmaking abilities, you quickly realize that LaMelo is in no need of the typical ramp-up. As a matter of fact, LaMelo Ball is one of, if not the most NBA-ready prospect in the 2020 draft, having played professionally in the NBL centered in Australia. He's played against pros in a very competitive league, which is not the same as going to an NCAA division school, as the level of difficulty is somewhere between that and the NBA. Not only that, LaMelo's level of play in the NBA has so far been well above expectations when you account for the extended gap year between leaving the National Basketball League and his first game in the NBA. Dare I say, he was performing better than the other guards on his team. The only problem is the coach seemingly had a very difficult time giving LaMelo the minutes he needs to develop as quickly as possible and put the team in a position to win now as well as later on. Because, let's face it, if he's having game nights better than the best player on the team in his first 2 weeks of games, your best player might not be your best player. LaMelo was the stat leader for both teams in points and assists. By the end of the game, he had racked up 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists while playing only 29 minutes, good for a player impact rating of 40.3. This is the single best game for any rookie so far this year, further evidence supporting his potential for having the highest ceiling in this draft. Taking a further look at the stats, the second best game of the year, also LaMelo Ball. Due to only playing a short 15 minutes in that game, his player impact rating took a huge hit, showing up as only an 18.7. When something like this happens, the player is clearly not being utilized to their full potential, as all across the board, regardless of the minutes played, his high potential is on full display. Friday morning, we'll see my update of the second edition of the Top Rook scale, and we'll see how this performance impacts LaMelo's presence on the board. Coming into this game, the Mavericks were expected to win, and it wasn't expected to be particularly close. The Mavericks, whom last year had the highest offensive rating in the league, just 3 days earlier had pummeled the Los Angeles Clippers into oblivion with a massive beating that immediately went into the NBA record books. The Clippers, a favorite to enter the Western Conference Finals this year, as they were expected to last year, were ran out of the gem. To be fair, they were missing Kawhi, though a 51-point thrashing isn't something you usually will be able to fix with a single player. Despite the Hornets beating one of the favorites to come out of the East, the Brooklyn Nets, That one game was seen as somewhat of an anomaly. It was the Nets, they say. The Nets didn't play well. After tonight's game, it seems the mainstream media still hasn't caught on. After all, it's still popular to hate LeVar Ball, and his son is likely to be the star of the team. There's no way that team can compete at the highest level, right? Tonight, they said, it was Dallas. Dallas didn't play well. Really? Just how long do you guys plan on keeping this up? The fact of the matter is, LaMelo Ball is an extremely talented player and is leading the charge on a team that beat other teams, led by guys either with MVPs or guys who were in contention for MVPs last year. You don't just wake up one day and score 22 points in the NBA and hold the highest rated offense to less than 100 points. Even when Dallas went on a run with Maxi Kleber hitting threes, luckily the Hornets had LaMelo on the court at the time, who would direct the offense and managed to pull the Hornets ahead of the Mavericks despite Maxi Kleber's heroics. His play during the first quarter was otherworldly. If you recall, at the beginning of the video, I said that the Hornets themselves didn't know they had the talent to back up their confidence. Well, LaMelo came off the bench in the first quarter and outplayed everyone on both teams. At the beginning of the second quarter, the coach yet again ran the starting lineup. This meant LaMelo went back to the bench. A scorching hot LaMelo Ball, who by the narratives can't shoot, had not missed a single shot in the first quarter, but was placed on the bench to start the second quarter. The coach shortly thereafter realized his chase of fool's gold and quickly called a timeout when Dallas came storming back in the second quarter to within 2 points of the Hornets after the Hornets had been up by 7 to end the first quarter. With LaMelo Ball back on the floor, the Hornets proceeded to extend their 2-point lead to double digits by the end of the second quarter. The score was now 68-57. As frustrations mounted on the Mavs, the Hornets seized the momentum going into the third quarter and for the next 6 minutes had the Mavericks on lockdown, unable to score a single point, while the Hornets ran up the deficit to the tune of 25 points. The Mavericks managed to find some relief, which came in through the form of Willie Cauley-Stein making one foul shot of 4 off a Kawhi bounce halfway through the third quarter. As the Hornets continued the bloodless massacre, Luka was not too happy. The lead had ballooned up to around 30 points and there was no end in sight. It would be absolutely improbable for the Dallas Mavericks to mount a comeback against the LaMelo-led offense of the Charlotte Hornets. This game, for all intents and purposes, was over. Except, it wasn't. There was some animosity on the court as one of the Dallas players lowered his shoulder and rammed it into a Hornets player. Now for some context. It's clear from the video evidence that this was foul play and the refs were immediately on top of it. James Johnson, a veteran player that actually has a reputation not for his playing skills, but the fact that he is actually a trained martial artist with a black belt, seemed to have instigated the incident. James Johnson isn't your average player and in a confrontation on the court is likely to be able to cause some damage. The guy he pushed? Cody Martin, twin brother of Caleb Martin, both of whom are on the Charlotte Hornets team. Cody was drafted with the 36th pick, meanwhile his brother Caleb had gone undrafted. After review, the refs decided to hit both brothers with a technical, and being that Johnson was hit with a tech earlier in the game, this second tech that he got, he was ejected. You see, sometimes, even the better fighters don't win. As the game continued, the Charlotte Hornets closed out for the win and sent the Mavericks packing, wondering what just happened. The commentators thought aloud. Well, it was Dallas. That's what it was. Dallas didn't show up. No, commentators, it wasn't Dallas. They showed up. They just got hit by the LaMelo freight train. Or as DJ over at DJ's Raw Uncut Truth calls it, the LaMelo stimulus package. That's it for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share my channel if you know anyone else who would like to hear it, and come back for more. And regarding DJ at DJ's Raw Uncut Truth, if you'd like to hear more information about the LaMelo Ball situation in Charlotte and any of the other Ball brother information, go and check out his channel as he's doing daily videos, uploads, and also live streams. Thank you again for checking out my channel. Till next time. Swish.
I block so hard, sweetie get served. Call me Lonzo Ball, bitches get swerved.
Usually I don't get down with these girls, but tonight it's on my mind, so I might eat these words. I just wanna watch